Nancy Sutley, is there such a thing as clean coal?
Well, there's no question that we as a country rely on coal for much of our energy production, and we have to deal with its environmental impact. So there's very promising technology for both producing power from coal more cleanly, but more importantly, a lot of research and demonstration going on into capturing the carbon from coal. So the president believes that we need a diversified energy portfolio, one that's cleaner than our current portfolio, and that we have to invest in the research and development of technologies that will make coal, which is an abundant resource here in the United States, cleaner to use.
It's tough to make the case to the rest of the world to stop using or stop emphasizing coal as heavily as they do, while we're still using it as heavily as we are. Can we start using these clean technologies quickly enough, at a big enough scale, that we can neutralize the impact of what still is a pretty dirty fuel?
Well, precisely because so much of the rest of the world relies on coal, and some of the fastest growing economies in the world rely on coal, that the investment in research and innovation here in the United States, not only for our domestic needs, but for the needs around the world, is going to be very important. So the kinds of technologies that are being developed here in the United States to use coal more cleanly and to capture the carbon are going to be that much more important as we see economies around the world like China and India, who are very dependent on coal, continue to grow at the rate they're going. We need to solve this problem globally, and these technologies, whether it's clean coal or renewable energy technologies developed here in the United States, will have worldwide application in addressing this worldwide problem.
Earlier you talked about access to the jobs, and that's an issue that's very important to the Latino community. If you live in South Florida, in the Bronx, in Illinois, in Southern California, where you're from, there are skeptics about whether communities of color will see their share of these new jobs that are going to be created.
Well, the president believes that we have to make this investment for our future because we need to lead the world in developing clean energy technologies and clean energy jobs. The clean energy jobs are everything from PhDs working in a lab to develop these cutting-edge technologies to people in communities installing solar panels on roofs or weatherizing homes, and all of the businesses that support those. So we believe that there's tremendous opportunity for communities across the country, for Latino communities, to grow small businesses and to grow businesses in installing energy efficiency in homes, in businesses, and in getting into the renewable energy business.
Because you'll have to excuse me for being a little suspicious and a little skeptical, but I'm a little frightened that the jobs are going to very heavily being putting caulk around windows and not heavily involved in developing the next generation solar panel or cogeneration from solid waste or the other technologies that are being pioneered. Those end up being limited, high-end jobs, in effect rewarding those people who are already doing pretty well in America.
Well, I think that there is opportunities across the board. One of the things that we've been focusing on at the White House Council on Environmental Quality is really thinking about how we create a sustainable industry, for example, in retrofitting homes and making them more energy efficient. There are 130 million homes in the United States, and probably very few of them are as energy efficient as they could be. So we think in that area there's tremendous opportunity to grow businesses in both sort of the basic technologies of replacing windows and more insulation, but also in things like developing and installing new heating and cooling systems and solar panels on roofs. And so if we think about the tremendous opportunities for these 130 million homes and the millions of commercial buildings across the country, there's huge economic opportunity. But also, I think the opportunities for communities, Latino communities in the high-tech part of this industry. The president believes very strongly in the investing in teaching of engineering and mathematics and science. And these are all present opportunities for future generations, the generations now in school, to really take advantage of the clean energy economy.
Industries that are worried about their future, that are skeptical of the president's initiatives, pay a lot of money to turn around and talk to middle-class Americans and, frankly, scare them about how much this is going to cost. Why? Because you can come up with scary numbers without exaggerating. Installing all those new heating and cooling systems, retrofitting houses, putting businesses that have used one kind of energy onto a new kind of energy. Yes, it has economic effects, but it also means a lot of capital costs. If you're not digging coal, but you are in your apartment turning on the light or turning on the air conditioner in the summer, can you be a little worried that this is going to, in the near term, involve higher rates for electricity and gas for your cooking and lighting, higher rates for the energy to run your car, and downward pressure on your wages, perhaps?
Well, the concerns, we understand the concerns, and the president is concerned too that as we make this transition to a cleaner energy economy, that we have to really pay attention to not only to the impact on industries that may be affected by this, but also on consumers. And so as the Congress is thinking about and working on legislation to build the clean energy economy and to address climate change, they're building protections into the bills for consumers and for industries that may be in transition. And then the analysis we've seen so far is that the costs are very, per household, are minimal. But what we're really doing is making an investment for our future. The world is going to run on clean energy in the future, and the question, I think, for policymakers is whether the United States is going to lead or follow. And the president believes that the United States should lead, and I think the American people believe that our innovation and ingenuity will produce will keep the United States in the economic leadership in the 21st century.
The impact or the cost of doing nothing is not often discussed with communities that often bear the brunt of the potential environmental change. If you have a kid with asthma in the South Bronx, if you've been flooded out of your house a couple of times in the Houston metropolitan area, if you can see the air at the evening rush hour in the Phoenix metropolitan area, you have a stake in this that goes beyond how much your electricity costs, don't you?
Sure. The costs of doing nothing are very high, and the communities, Latino communities and other communities across the country have borne the brunt of the health effects of the way that we power our economy. But the cost of doing nothing for our economy, too, are really high. The cost of losing American leadership, of seeing China investing huge amounts of money in developing renewable energy technologies, those are jobs that could be here in the United States. So if we look at the cost of doing nothing, there are true health costs and environmental costs. There are also costs to our economy if we don't really commit ourselves to this race for new clean energy technology.
But if you suffer, upper respiratory ailments, and you're coughing and watching the evening news, the fact that China's spending a lot of money is a fairly abstract proposition, but the fact that 1 or 2 months a year you have a cough is a pretty solid one. How come the administration doesn't emphasize that more in trying to talk to people about both today and impacts of intense use of carbon today, and about the downstream effects?
Well, I think that the administration strongly believes that a strong environment and a strong economy go hand in hand, that these issues are really linked together, and that these investments we make today in a clean energy economy will have these health benefits of reducing urban smog, of reducing dangerous pollution in our communities, and also really provide this path forward for our economy.